What's up, guys? It's Jules. Welcome back to the channel. This is our Devo series called Through the Fire, and if you guys have been with me from parts 1 to 3, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you have yet to subscribe, then hit that subscribe button. So we're continuing the series right now with part 4. This again is loosely based off of the book of Job, and just a bit of a recap. In parts 1 to 3, we were talking about how, God allows us to go through things in our lives that feel fiery because ultimately he wants to shape and mold us to become more like him, and he corrects us because he loves us, and his correction is protection. And number 3, how he wants us to be silent, I think, during the times of testing, so that he can be the one to speak to us and that his spirit can do the work. So again, we will be continuing this right now with part 4. This one is called Every Moment a Test. Job 7:17 says, "What is mankind that you make so much of them, that you give them so much attention, that you examine them every morning and test them every moment?" Funny enough, whenever I look at this chapter, I just go, yeah, God, why? Why do you care so much? How come it seems as if every moment of every day, there's something right in front of me that I either have to react to, I have to count to 10, or I have to go somewhere else and recollect myself? And I think that there are 3 major things that God is constantly testing us in our everyday lives. And number 1 is people. On a daily basis, we all have to deal and interact with people, whether that's the people we live with, whether that's the people we work with, even the people that we go to church with. And just to paint a scenario, I am 1 out of 7 girls in a house, which means there are a lot of us, and they are all lovely. They're absolute angels, but we don't all have the same personalities. We don't all have the same way of doing things, which means that when it comes to cleaning or comes to watching TV or just everything that happens on a daily basis, we don't always see eye to eye. And I think the major thing right now is the fact that we never know why there are so many dishes in the sink. And so all of us go on defense mode. All of us play the silent blame game. And I think sometimes it causes tension in the overall cleanliness of our house. It can cause tension. It can also cause maybe some ill emotions. And so I think that whenever you don't see eye to eye with a person, God really tests you by bringing certain people along that you are not going to see eye to eye with, that you are going to be an absolute opposite of. Number 2, money. Money is such a finite resource. It can either dictate the way we value ourselves, and how we spend it, I think, actually really means something to God. And when it comes to both these first 2 points, it's not necessarily so much about how we treat people or what we do with our money, but it's really a beyond the surface type of thing, because on the surface we can look like we're treating people well, we can look like we're spending our money well, but in our hearts, what's really going on there? I think ultimately it is a heart issue. Number 3 is time. Time now is an equal commodity that all of us have. Everybody's got 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so what we do with our time, how we use it and steward it, is also another thing that we're constantly tested with. Are we allowing ourselves to be interrupted for the needs of others? Are the things that we're doing with our time actually glorifying God? And so in these 3 things, you can really ask yourself, am I glorifying God with what I'm doing? I'm being tested in these things. What is God really trying to show me? And if I don't pass this test, it probably means that I have to take the test again. And so I think it's really just seeing where our heart is, seeing if we are being generous with our money and our time. If we are being generous ultimately with our resources, we're going to be tested with that. And if we're actually genuinely loving and serving people in such a way that we've put their needs before ours, where we've thought of them before ourselves, where we've gone the extra mile and actually understood where they're coming from, and have maybe served them in anonymity, or have just given them the benefit of the doubt. And so I really think that when it comes to those 3 things, this is where we're tested the most. It brings along 2 questions. Will the emotions, the frustrations that they tend to cause, will they be the emotions that dictate our decisions? Will our circumstances and our tests and the reality of it dictate our truth? And so it's always important to come to God with these things, and of course to come to the Word of God with these things. So I hope that you guys were encouraged by this devotional, Every Moment a Test. And I am praying for y'all, because y'all being tested. I know that for sure. I definitely am. So there you go. I will see you guys next week for part 5. It's going to be our last installment for this series, Through the Fire. Thank you again so much for being on this journey. I really do appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.